She ran, barefoot and breathless, through the narrow path that led out of the motor park. Her wrapper was torn, her small feet bruised by gravel. Behind her, men's laughter floated through the air like smoke, dark, cruel, and unforgettable. That laughter. It was the sound of innocence dying. Her name was Halima. She is of the Fulani extraction and only 10 years old. And tonight, she had seen what no child should ever see. Before that night, before the darkness came, Halima was just another little girl trying to survive the harsh sun of life in northern Nigeria. Every morning, Halima balanced a wooden tray of groundnuts on her head and walked into the chaos of the motor park. Her eyes were bright with hope, but her stomach often empty. She was selling for survival, not just for herself, but for her mother too. Her father had disappeared when she was barely 3. Her mother, like many women in their town, never went to school. Religion and tradition had chained her dreams before they could even breathe. So Halima's tiny shoulders carried the burden of 2 lives. The groundnut tray wasn't just wood and food, it was her only chance at keeping hunger away. She wasn't alone in this hustle. Around her were other young girls, selling oranges, bananas, roasted corn, each one a silent soldier in a war against poverty. Among them was Fatima, a 14-year-old girl with beauty so radiant that men stopped mid-step just to stare. Her skin glowed under the sun, her laughter carried confidence, and her hips swayed with the rhythm of survival. Halima admired her. They were both Fulani, both poor, both trying to make it through life's dust and danger. Their friendship grew fast, like a flower pushing through cracked ground. Fatima taught Halima how to attract customers, how to smile even when the day was long, how to make herself seen in a world that ignored little girls like them. Halima listened. But she soon began to notice things she didn't understand. When Fatima passed by, men's eyes followed. When she laughed, coins rained into her tray. And when she sold, she went home early, her basket empty, her pockets full. Halima thought she was simply lucky. After all, bananas and groundnuts went well together. But then she saw something that made her heart uneasy. Men didn't just give Fatima money, they sometimes touched her arm, her waist, even her chest. Halima remembered her mother's warning. Never let any man touch your body. Those hands carry the devil's whisper. But Fatima never seemed to mind. She would laugh, brush the hands away, and move on as if it was nothing. When Halima asked her why she allowed it, Fatima smiled and said, "You'll understand when you're older." But Halima didn't want to understand. She just wanted to sell her groundnuts and stay safe. One hot afternoon, Fatima told Halima she was going to ease herself behind the uncompleted building near the motor park. Minutes passed. Then, a man, Alhaji Braimoh, followed in the same direction. Everyone knew Alhaji. He was rich, respected, and always smiling. He often gave the girls gifts, biscuits, drinks, and sometimes money. Halima didn't think much of it until Fatima returned. She was sweating more than usual, her smile weaker, her eyes looked distant. Halima asked if she was okay. Fatima said she had a headache. But then Halima noticed Alhaji emerging from that same building, adjusting his clothes and glancing toward them. Something didn't feel right. Days later, curiosity pulled Halima's small feet toward that same uncompleted building. She had seen Fatima and then Alhaji go into the place again. One after the other. She couldn't stop herself, she followed, hiding behind a cracked wall. And what she saw froze her soul. 2 bodies tangled in a way her mother had once called the unholy act. Halima's throat went dry. Her hands trembled. She turned and ran back to her tray of groundnuts, her mind spinning. That night, she could not sleep. Was Fatima in trouble? Or was this something she chose willingly? Why did Alhaji, a grown man, do that with a girl barely older than her? Questions circled her mind like hungry vultures. The next day, Halima's curiosity became her curse. Fatima went again to the uncompleted building. Halima followed quietly, this time around, to confirm if what she saw before was an agreed affair between her friend and the Alhaji or not. But unknown to her, she wasn't alone this time around. Unseen eyes watched from the shadows, a group of rough area boys who had long noticed the Alhaji's secret visits. As Halima crept behind the building, a large hand suddenly covered her mouth. She tried to shout, but the hand pressed harder. Another hand gripped her arm. Another pulled at her wrapper. She struggled, tears flooding her eyes. But her voice was swallowed by fear and the sound of evil laughter. That day, Halima lost not just her innocence. She lost her voice. Her world turned to ashes. When she returned home, her mother saw it immediately, the limp in her walk, the pain in her silence. "Halima, what happened to you?" she asked, her voice trembling. At first, the girl said nothing. But then, the tears came. And with them, the truth spilled out, every horror, every touch, every fear. Her mother broke down, holding her child close as if to protect her from the very air. Then she stood, wiped her eyes, and whispered, "They will pay for this." The next morning, she went straight to the local police station. The officers listened carefully. They were shocked, but determined. They promised justice, and a plan was made. Halima would return to the park. The men would come for her again. The police, dressed in plain clothes, would be watching. It was a dangerous plan, but the only way to catch the predators. Halima agreed, her small hands shaking. She wanted justice, not just for herself, but for all the girls like her. The next day began like any other. Halima balanced her tray, calling out softly, "Groundnut. Fresh groundnut." She later sat where she and Fatima normally sell their wares. She stayed there until later in the day when she noticed the arrival of the plainclothes policemen who signaled to her in order to her know that they were around. A few minutes later, she moved toward the uncompleted building, slowly, deliberately. The rough boys saw her. So did the plainclothes officers. Minutes later, they followed. So did Alhaji Braimoh. And this time, Fatima was beside him. Halima's heart raced. She knew what was coming. The boys grabbed her roughly, laughing as before. She fought back, her voice trembling, her eyes darting for help. Then, Alhaji stepped forward, smiling wickedly. "Hold her tight," he said. "Let me enjoy first." Halima froze. Where were the police? Had they left her? The air grew thick with fear. Then, in one desperate move, she bit the hand covering her mouth and screamed, loud, piercing, desperate. Her shout was followed by one from a corner of the building that said, "Police. Don't move." Within seconds, men in plain clothes stormed the place, pistols drawn. The rough boys froze. Alhaji's smile vanished. Fatima gasped. They were all handcuffed on the spot. The motor park went silent as people watched, stunned, as the police van carried them away. News spread fast. Alhaji Braimoh arrested for child abuse. Headlines screamed across the town. Town people whispered to one another as some people had been suspecting the Alhaji of such deeds long before now. In court, the truth came out like a flood. Fatima, under pressure, confessed how Alhaji had used money, food, and fear to silence her. The boys admitted to watching his secret affairs, and later attacking Halima out of greed and cruelty. The judge's voice thundered, "For your crimes against this child and others unnamed, you are sentenced to 10 years in prison, with hard labor." The gavel fell. Justice had spoken. Halima's mother wept, this time, tears of relief. The police made sure Halima would never have to hawk again. Money seized from Alhaji's bank account was used to send her to school. Her mother was given a cleaning job at the local bank, humble, but enough to feed and live with dignity. Months later, a local NGO learned of Halima's story. They took over her education, from primary school to university. Through every exam, every challenge, Halima carried one promise in her heart: I will become a voice for the voiceless. 15 years later, a young woman stood in the same courtroom where she once cried as a child. This time, she wore a black gown and white collar. This time, she was the one speaking, not as a victim, but as a lawyer. Her name was still Halima, but her spirit had changed. She had become an advocate for children, defending those who couldn't defend themselves. She worked with the same NGO that once rescued her, traveling across towns, teaching families about child safety, and helping victims find justice. The same streets that once broke her now watched her walk with pride. Sometimes, Halima passes by that old motor park, the same place that stole her childhood. She stands quietly, watching the new rules being enforced: no more children selling in public places. No more little girls carrying trays instead of dreams. She whispers a silent prayer, for Fatima, for herself, for every child still struggling to be seen. Then she says softly to herself, never again. Dear friends, this story has been inspired by true events. Protect every innocent child out there. Silence helps the abuser, not the victim. If you have enjoyed this story and you support our struggle to protect our children out there against child abuse, please show this by giving us a like, subscribing to our channel and sharing it to as many people as possible to help bring awareness to this challenge in our society. Thanks for visiting our channel, and please watch our other videos so as to encourage us to do more.
Please like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel now.